Hello friends, we are here again with Friday Forum. My name is Ziad.
And I'm Kelly.
We started CPEC.fund. It's like Community Private Equity Collaborative. It's a fund we started with the sheer spirit and intention of helping our fellow real estate professionals, as well as all the other people who are somehow or the other involved in real estate. Home buyers who can or cannot afford, who do not have enough information, who needs help with selling their real estate, financing it, or need information, just want to know about the market. So we have been doing this thing for a while now. We provide all the content and information based on your feedback. Real estate market is very, very dynamic and very, very fragmented. The changes happening all the time. And it has become a very confusing environment, especially because of COVID. And professionals wonder that, what's going to happen? What should we do? How should we proceed? Etc., etc. You've been very gracious. You've been giving us feedback. You've been telling us what we should talk about, how we should do it. And we have been improving, working with the help of your feedback. We appreciate your questions. We're always here without any consideration, without any expectation of any reward. Kelly's always been very, very helpful, and we are here. You don't have to do any business with us to seek help from us. We will be very happy to help you out in this. Today we are going to talk about a very, very important topic, which has many facets, and it has a lot of implications in terms of real estate. We are going to talk about real estate, fraud, different forms, what is happening, how it affects different people. Now, most real estate, the millions of real estate professionals in the United States alone who do business every day. And many of them have been fortunate enough to be not affected by any kind of fraud. And they take it very, very lightly. They think that, okay, nothing has happened so far. I've been doing it for 20 years. So what can happen? I'll continue business as usual. But that is not the case anymore. We are going more and more online every day. All of our devices and appliances, and some of which we are not even aware of, are already connected with our Wi-Fi networks. We're always on. Microwaves, refrigerators, dishwashers, all of those are now Wi-Fi enabled. And you never know how and what sends your information to, public domain. And there are people who are, scamming, defrauding other people. So we came across, and several of our viewers have pointed it out, that Virginia Department of Professional Occupational Regulations and State of Virginia have also put a warning on their website that there is a fraud going on, many different types when there is a specific kind of fraud. So Kelly and I will be talking about that, and as always, we very welcome your questions, your feedback, and your comments into this. Kelly?
Yes, the real estate agents are being tricked by this fraudulent seller and buyer scheme that's going on. What they do is they will contact a real estate agent about a listing of a vacant property that doesn't have liens, usually a lot or a vacant house, and they will take advantage of the real estate agent by pretending they're a seller seeking to sell their lot quickly and under market value.
So this information security or safeguarding against frauds and or scams is a very similar analogy to the medieval forts. We used to build strong walls against our valuables, which included people and other precious assets of a city or a state. Likewise, now our most valuable information, financial information, personal information, is vulnerable, and we need to build fort, like walls of security around it. It could be information security, it could be physical security, our papers and all that. And we need to be well informed and know what is going on. What Kelly's telling us about is fraudsters always find cracks and loopholes in the system, and from there they enter. They look for vulnerable people like absentee landlords, like elderly people, people who are not much familiar with changing regulations all the time, people who do not have, hold of their real estate papers or information. Somehow or the other, they are vulnerable to this kind of fraud. And then it is increasing, as I said, as the online and social media presence increases, fraudulent practices and activities are increasing. There is wire transfer frauds, there are land transfer frauds, lands are being sold by people who do not own them, etc., etc. So what should we do? Sometimes it feels like when you're driving by and you see a sign that caution, falling rock, and then you don't know what to do. If the rock is falling, what are you going to do? So what do we do in this case?
But typically, realtors are so excited to get these calls in the office saying, oh, I want to sell my property. I'm going to sell it for a great price. And I want to sell it quick, so let's price it just right. And the realtor's like, oh, yes, let's do this. And they'll say, oh, let me meet. And they'll go and they'll meet this person at the house or the vacant lot. And they should ask for a photo ID and do just a little bit of due diligence that they haven't previously done. Mostly we assume that it is the seller selling the house. Why would we have to look at a photo ID, check out all the court records? But because we are made aware of this fraud scheme and how much it's going on, we need to take the time to do due diligence to check out this seller.
You see, we've been always telling you the importance of due diligence, disclosures, and disclaimers. These things are very, very important in real estate. So in this case, due diligence, which means, and some realtors who have started out or who have not paid much attention to this, they ask us, what is due diligence and how do we do it? So due diligence is essentially background research, looking for public records or information available, and if you suspect anything, asking the relevant corresponding government departments and authorities. And there are in many cases, the brokers, their agencies, their underwriters who will be able to guide you in certain ways. So where to start from? Like, let's say I got a call and somebody wants to sell their property, and what do I do?
Well, the first thing, Dr. Khan, is to beware. Now that we know this fraud scheme is going on, we just need to beware. We need to look for little signs that we normally wouldn't pay attention to, like when the seller says, oh, I've got an emergency, I need to really sell this property quickly, I'm going to take less money for it. Or you ask them for a photo ID and they're like, oh, I left my driver's license here or there. There are different ways that you should be able to use those as red flags, actually. They should be red flags. I've been in the business a long time, and let me tell you how easily it is to be tricked by these scammers. Dr. Khan, we own a title company. I got a check in the mail one time for a UPS delivery for a check for over $90,000. They said, oh, we're selling our property. We want to put this money in escrow. I called the bank. It was a legitimate check for $90,000. But I thought, well, I don't have a contract in here. Nobody that I knew that knows my company called and got a quote. I'm going to do a little bit more due diligence on this check. So I looked the property up online, and the property is actually for sale, but the person that sent the check that said they're selling their property was not the same person on the deed at the courthouse. And so a red flag came up. So then I called the bank and they said, yes, it's legitimate. So I emailed the person and I said, I need to see your identification. I need to meet you. And immediately no more correspondence whatsoever came forth.
So 30 seconds of thinking and like 10 minutes of due diligence saved you a lot of trouble that could have caused you. And we all know that every real estate transaction, there are many parties involved. Some parties are casual. They're not, either professional or they don't really care. They're not responsible enough, or they're sheer lazy. They think what can go wrong? They're like, okay, just like we were closing this transaction a few days ago and, this person to receive the money, she was not confirming her information. She was, I said it, so, just go ahead and do that. Don't do that. Don't do this kind of things. Even if you know the people and they're legitimate, confirm wiring instructions in writing through a secure source. Do not do, this kind of, and basic due diligence can save you a lot of trouble. Otherwise, you could be, in serious trouble, financial trouble, trouble with the law, litigation, anything can happen. You don't know. You can save all of that with, little bit of careful and professional dealing of this situation. Now, having said that, okay, we are professionals. We are dealing with this situation, many of them, and then I guess fraudsters are always ahead of, in the curve, and they are always devising ways to, find loopholes and break the law before the law is even finalized or the technology is ready to be commercialized. They already find the loopholes into that. So there's technology, there's litigation, like regulations, rules and regulations, and there are other many aspects of it. How do we find information? How do we keep ourselves updated? How do we know about these things? This is something very, very challenging. Kelly and I face it every day. We, in our mortgage company, in the title company, private equity is also a financial platform which is very heavily regulated part of the industry. So how do we do that? What sources of information and updation we have?
Dr. Khan, I would like to say that a little bit of common sense will go a long way.
Which is very uncommon.
Common sense is very uncommon, yes, sir.
That's what we heard.
Because many times you could be one of the first people with the fraud scheme to be tricked, one of the first ones that they are able to take advantage of. So you have to, you can't be in a hurry, you can't rush through transactions. I had another, in our title company, I had another email from a realtor and said, look, the wiring instructions that I gave you for my commission check were the wrong ones. Here are the correct ones. Use these. And that email was exactly like that realtor's email. Same signature line. Everything looked exactly like it. Had their name. But because I know that there are so many fraud schemes out there, I always click on the Outlook properties in my email to see if the email address is really the email when anyone says send money to this or email, or change wiring instructions. I will actually check on the Outlook properties because a lot of times it'll have their name, but if you hit Outlook properties, it'll show like somebody from a Gmail, strange account. So on that instance, that's what I did. I thought, why? Since I know this realtor, we've done a lot of business with them, why are they sending me this email? Why didn't they call me and say, I need to change the wiring instructions. What do you need? Why did they just randomly, right before it was time to disperse that file, did I get this email saying, oh no, send it to different. So when I checked on the Outlook properties, it was not his email actually, but everything looked exactly like his email.
And sometimes they go even further. They actually genuinely hack the original email and send it from original email. This thing especially happens if you have, before weekend, like on Fridays, Thursdays, and many real estate professionals do not like to do business or check their, in their off days, even though most of the business happens on weekends, but many people do not do it. It's like personal choice. So by the time they check this email, a lot of time has lapsed and it's actually genuine original email, even if you check that. So two-factor authentication or verification of the information, especially when there is a variance, sudden change in information, as Kelly said, it is always a good idea to use another means of communication, like call them, pick up the phone and call them. If you're using WhatsApp, more and more businesses are using WhatsApp now. If you're using that, use that and confirm the change and the information there. If you see any anomaly, go and, find out, just verify that it is, when you speak with the person or when you get the same information from another source, then you can be sure that, okay, so you are doing something legitimate. So with the ever-changing landscape and changing information very, very rapidly, it's very important to be diligent, be on top of things, be informed. And the sources of information include, the news. Social media we talk about all the time, and we talk about the ills of social media, but social media can be very, very useful if used as a professional tool. You can get updates and information from all the state and professional organizations, and you can actually talk to the trade associations or professional associations. They give you information. As I said, the brokers, the underwriters, or whoever at the agency you are working for or with, they may have more information. And then again, government information is also available. To just take a little bit of time and make a little bit of an effort to keep, yourself up to date and know what is going on in your industry. That is the purpose of our program, to engage you into this and keep you abreast and keep updating professional knowledge and keep helping fellow professionals. Kelly, how do you wrap this up so we take this home and we start doing this, those who haven't been doing it?
Yes, go to the DPOR website real estate section and read about this scam so that you can protect yourself and your company. Get more information, be aware, pay attention, use common sense, because there are a lot of scams out there and they're not all going to be on DPOR's website, but there are scams. So just use some common sense, protect yourself, protect your clients, and enjoy your job.
DPOR is Department of Professional Occupations and Regulations. It's in Virginia, but there is an equivalent in every state, like DLLR in Maryland, likewise. So whatever corresponding department handles real estate board or real estate in your state, consult those. The federal government also, federal government departments, Fannie Mae, HUD, and all those other departments keep updating their information as well, and they keep bringing such things to you as well. We greatly appreciate you for staying with us and updating your knowledge and being more equipped to help your customers. Eventually, everything is about people who are doing business with us and making their life easier and making their real estate transactions seamless and transparent. Thank you very much, and we will always welcome your feedback, your questions. Stay very blessed. All right.